Hi, my name is Ace. This is Jaden, and welcome to Fridays in Football. We're here at Cleveland High School in the Cleveland Clarion newsroom, and we're going to talk about soccer.
Today we had a full day of Champions League action. God, that was redundant. Highlighted by Real Madrid's 6-0 defeat over Galatasaray, Bayern Munich's 2-0 defeat over Olympiacos, and Man City's 1-1 draw with Atlanta.
Anything jump out at you there, Jaden?
Well, over in Group A, PSG also won, and they're now 10 goals. They've scored 10 goals and conceded 0. 4 games, 4 clean sheets, 12 points, and they should be able to advance at the top of the group. Real Madrid, with their 6-0 win, look like they're going to be runners-up, nearly guaranteed.
Runners-up? Who's in first in that division?
PSG.
Oh. Now, have they played yet?
Yeah, today, with a 1-0 victory over Bruges.
Okay.
In Group B, Bayern, with their 2-0 victory over Olympiacos, were able to qualify for the last 16, despite firing their manager last weekend. Possible replacements that have been linked to them are Arsene Wenger, Erik ten Hag, the Ajax boss, and Mauricio Pochettino and Jose Mourinho. Who would you like to see in that job?
Well, I mean, when you mentioned Arsene Wenger, I was like, isn't that guy in the retirement home? Like, is he really ready for coming back to a high profile job? I mean, it just doesn't seem like possible. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think who needs a change of pace is Pochettino. I think he needs a change of scenery. I think things are starting to go a little stale at Tottenham, and he probably be a good move for him to find another place.
Absolutely. Juventus boss from last year, Maximiliano Allegri, has also been linked with the job, but the Bayern president, Uli Hoeneß, has said that they want a German-speaking boss, which really narrows it down to Arsene Wenger and Erik ten Hag, who used to coach the reserves.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Do you think Bayern's in any hurry to find a new boss, or are they gonna draw this out a little bit?
I don't know, because last year we saw 2 managers get fired mid-season in Jose Mourinho and Julian Lopetegui at Real Madrid, and both the times they just hired the interim for the long-term replacement, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which isn't going that great, and Santiago Solari, who also got sacked later that season. So I feel like they could potentially fall into the trap of keeping the interim, but I don't know. I think Ten Hag's the most likely candidate.
Who do you think of all the managers right now that are kind of on the hottest seat? Who do you think might be the first manager to be fired?
Honestly, I have to go with Valverde in Barcelona. In their 0-0 draw with Slavia Prague yesterday, they were they weren't even doing anything. There was one part, it looked like they were playing a 1-2-1-6 formation. And the players were all over, in each other's way, out of position. It was just a mess. They lost to Levante at the weekend, last Saturday, I believe, and things aren't going great there. Lucky for them, no one else in the league is stepping it up either.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, what's going on with Atletico Madrid? You'd think that they would, seize the moment, so to speak.
They really had a huge overhaul in the summer, losing Griezmann, Godin, 2 of their long-term senior players, and I think it's going to take a few years for them to rebuild, but I don't know. It's just not their time yet. But it's really interesting in La Liga because it's like no one wants the title.
Well, you just mentioned Griezmann. Do you find it a coincidence that he goes from Atletico Madrid to Barcelona, and now Barcelona is starting to not really gel all that much? Is it a Griezmann problem? Is it a Valverde problem? What's going on? Is it a Messi malaise?
Well, at the end of the day, he doesn't really fit the system because his best position is as a number 9 out-and-out attacker, but Suarez is already there. And even right now with Suarez injured, he was playing through the middle yesterday with Messi and Dembele alongside, but he was really, I think just the tactics have been all wrong, and he can't perform well right now.
Well, now if I'm a Barcelona fan, which I'm not particularly a Barcelona fan, but they always used to play the beautiful game. Do you see any threat to their advancing or not advancing into the knockout stages in the Champions League?
Absolutely not. They'll get through. They always do. Same with Real Madrid. Those big European clubs never fail to advance.
Well, now who do you think is who's kind of been a big surprise for you in the Champions League right now?
Honestly, it's Ajax. With losing De Jong and De Ligt last year, I thought they were going to struggle a lot this year, but they're top in the group, barely, tied with Valencia and Chelsea on 7 points. They had that thriller yesterday, 4-4. We were able to hold on with 9 men, but they've really played above expectations this year.
Okay, I'd probably I think that's a good choice. I would I would have to say I don't really see a surprise team. Maybe Chelsea. Chelsea's been doing pretty well. That particular group I don't think is that strong, so you would expect Chelsea to be doing okay, but it's still pretty competitive. Valencia is right there with 7 points. Chelsea and Ajax 7 points. So who do you think comes out of that group? Out of those 3 teams?
I think at the end of the day it'll be Ajax and Chelsea. They each play Valencia and Lille, and I think those are the 2 better sides.
All right. Okay. Anything else on the Champions League? What else do you see there?
Red Bull Leipzig have really had a great season this year. 9 points through 4 games, top of the group, on the verge of qualifying next week. And also in the Bundesliga, they had an 8-0 defeat over Mainz at the weekend.
Wow.
Which is always crazy.
We can't just move on from Champions League talk without talking about our team, Liverpool. They're top of the group with 9 points. How do you think they're playing right now?
The ceiling is a lot higher. We haven't been great, but they've gotten results. Even in the Premier League, their goal difference is 16 over 10 wins, which is an average of 1.6 goals is their margin of victory, which isn't great. They can't really keep a clean sheet, but they're getting the job done. Yesterday, with a 2-1 defeat over Genk, they were able to rest Firmino and Mane, and Robertson for their game against City at the weekend, and they're getting it done, and they have a lot more potential than they're showing right now.
All right.
And they also have, with Napoli's draw over Salzburg, they can clinch top of the group with a win over Napoli in matchday 5 in 3 weeks' time.
All right. So, we just wrapped up, some of this Champions League. When do they pick up action again?
Well, we have the weekend and then 2-week international break, and then the first midweek after that is the next week of Champions League.
Okay, and then knockout rounds start
mid-February.
Okay, so we got that to look forward to. All right. Anyway, so wrapping up some Champions League stuff. It looks like we've seen some, the usual suspects are at the top of their group. We've had a few surprises. We've had some wonderful goals, just some really interesting moments. And I don't know, anything stand out for you? We had some incredible things that have happened in Champions League just in the last 2 days. What stands out for you in some of the more crazy things that have happened?
Well, obviously, Claudio Bravo getting substituted in for Ederson at halftime and then getting sent off in the 80th minute, resulting in Kyle Walker playing in goal for the last 10 minutes. It's always fun when that happens. And there was, I believe, 56 goals in the total match day 4, which is a new record for most goals in a Champions League match day. So that's fun. A lot of teams having defensive struggles right now.
Right, yeah. Can we buy a center back? It seems like, Liverpool doesn't have – do you think Liverpool has any defensive problems right now, or do you think to me, they seem – they were the most solid defensive team, but now are there any questions about their defense?
Like I said before, they're having a hard time keeping a clean sheet, but with Van Dijk in there and whoever it is alongside him, Lovren, Gomez, or Matip, they're getting the job done, and compared to everyone else's struggles, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Because they're outscoring the opposition week in, week out.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. Okay. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to this continent, North America. There happens to be a really big game this weekend. Unfortunately, as a Portland Timbers fan, I gotta say this: it's the Seattle Sounders versus the Toronto. What are they? FC Toronto. Whatever they're.
Toronto FC.
Toronto FC in the MLS Cup, and as a Portland fan, it just pains me to see the Sounders there. It's the third time in 4 years they've been in the final, but deservedly so. Part of me says that's all right because I absolutely did not want to see LAFC in the final. That just would have bothered me. So, Seattle beat them. Okay, but well deserved. I mean, they're playing a really, really good soccer right now.
Mm-hmm. 5 straight wins with the last 2 games of the regular season and in the playoffs. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about their chances in the final. However, they can't fall into the same trap that LAFC did against them and that Atlanta and New York City did against Toronto, which is underestimating your opposition. It's a cup final, and both teams are going to come to play, regardless of having 70,000 fans at home.
The way I see it, Seattle, obviously they have the home field advantage. They're going to have what they said, 69,000 people at CenturyLink. So it's going to be rocking, and so they'll have all that support. But they really seem to be playing their best soccer right now, especially with Rui Diaz. He had 2 really great goals in the semifinal. And then your engine, Ladero, is just playing super soccer. And then I think you throw in Jordan Morris, who just, gives you that extra speed edge on the outside. And he can score goals too. They just seem like they have too much offensively for Toronto to handle. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
That they do have a lot of attacking firepower going forward, but so do Toronto, and Alejandro Pozuelo and Benazet scored a great goal against Atlanta. Did you see that one?
I did. Curler. Yeah, that was top shelf goal right there.
And then also Nick De Leon, Mr. Playoffs. I don't know if you remember, but last year in the it was 120th minute, playing for DC United, about to be eliminated. He scored the game-tying goal. They ended up losing in penalties, but then he's basically just Mr. Playoffs. And
so
scary.
he's the Dairon Asprilla for Toronto.
Divock Origi, anything.
So yeah, what scares you about Toronto? If you're as a Seattle fan, what gives you the willies?
I'm really scared about their ability to play just under no pressure, because at home, 70,000 fans, the pressure's all on Seattle. And as Toronto showed in the last 2 rounds, they can win away against the top teams. So they just really need to not fall into that trap.
Okay. So it's at 12 o'clock Sunday. Where are you going to be at?
Probably my living room. I don't know. I like to watch soccer a lot by myself. Don't get distracted.
Oh, no, I can't stand that. People want to talk and stuff. I'm just like, I just want to focus on the game. Just maybe I'll have some pretzels or something like that. But I gotta focus. because I like to watch the game. Yeah. I'll probably watch the first half, and then I actually got a game myself I got to play in the over Geezer League.
That's quite unfortunate.
I know. Too bad I got to miss the Seattle Sounders. That's just kind of bums me out.
I originally thought the game was going to be played on Saturday instead of Sunday, like the previous MLS Cups have been, which I have a dentist appointment during that, on a personal note. But I got very excited when I realized it was actually Sunday.
Nice. Well, so that's very exciting. Okay, let's get a prediction out there. What do you think the final score is going to be?
2-1 Seattle.
2-0?
2-1.
Oh, 2-1. Okay.
I think maybe they grab an opener, Toronto equalizes in the second half, and then Seattle finds a late winner. That's my ideal scenario, I guess. A lot of bias here, though.
Yeah. I think Seattle wins going away. I think it's going to be 3-1 Seattle. I think they're going to probably Christian. Is that his name? Christian Roldan. Mm-hmm. He's going to pick Bradley's pocket twice and then slice a pass off to Rui Diaz for 2 goals. And then I don't know who gets it. Probably De Leon. He gets a late one. It's 3-1 Seattle, unfortunately.
It's kind of sad that LAFC didn't advance, just because had they, we could have seen Michael Bradley versus Bob Bradley in the final, which would have been great.
I know. Yeah, two Chrome Domes going at it. That would have been really great.
That game on 12 o'clock on Sunday. Earlier that day, the big one in the Premier League, Liverpool versus City.
Ooh. What gets you more excited, Liverpool versus City or Seattle versus, Toronto in the final?
It's going to be a great weekend of football. But honestly, the final's the final. And the Seattle game, everything boils down to that one game. If you win it, the season's a success, and if you lose it, it's a failure. And regardless of the result in the Premier League, it's not going to be over. It could have a very large dictation, but...
Okay, everybody wave your hands and then the lights will go back on. Yeah, but who could, like if Liverpool, let's hope this doesn't happen, but if Liverpool loses this, is this like the crack in the armor? Is this the little hole in the hull of the ship where SS Liverpool starts to sink? I've been through too many, disasters with Liverpool, going down the final, weekend or final season, and then the worst things happen, and then it's over for Liverpool. And I don't want to show any crack in the armor.
I think for Liverpool, it's the game, they have way less pressure on them. For City, Liverpool are already 6 points ahead, so for City, they cannot lose or they go 9 points ahead. If you remember last year in October, City came to Anfield and didn't play City's football. They played defensively, parked the bus, and got a 0-0 draw. So I could definitely see them doing something like that again because they can't lose.
Yeah. Well, then it'll probably be exciting, but I'd rather see a up and down, the field kind of game, both sides going at it. I hate to see any team park the bus, which is what Portland had to face the whole second half of its season. Every team that came into Providence Park would park the bus, and it's tough to break down. So anyway, I hope it's an up and down game because you got the 2 best teams in the Premier League going at it. The fans deserve a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the scoreline?
I think I'm feeling somewhat like a pessimist in this one. I think City wins 2-1. But I say that with the hope, of course, that I'm always wrong.
All right. On Saturday, another big game in the Premier League. 5th place Arsenal visit 3rd place Leicester City. Leicester and Chelsea at 23 points are already 6 points clear of Arsenal in the top four. What do you make of it?
Well, Leicester City, I like that team. I've always liked them. And Arsenal seems to be, they have all kinds of problems. You've talked earlier about, every team seems to have some kind of problem. Arsenal, with its leadership, their coach is on the hot seat. They have no defense. They've got pretty good offense. David Luiz comes over and, whoa, their defense just got bad. I wonder why. So I'm hoping Leicester City just keeps marching on. I've never been an Arsenal fan, so I'm pulling for Leicester City in that one. I think they win 2-1.
Mm-hmm. You'd love to see an underdog do well, especially after what they did. Was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago now? I'm not sure.
I know, yeah, right.
But it's really just one of those seasons where no one else is doing well. Like, if you look at this, between 5th place Arsenal and 17th place Everton, there's 6 points. It's just, this top four have really separated themselves from the pack.
Yeah. Well, I think what's surprising is, you see the Spurs down there in 11th place, and even Man U, 10th place. That just doesn't seem right, but here we are, And it's okay, as long as Liverpool's number one.
Speaking of Manchester United, they had been linked with a move for Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I saw a report that they had been openly pursuing him, but more recent reports saying he's more likely to go to AC Milan.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been linked to every team in Europe, except for, I don't know, FC Porto or something. I mean, every team. I've heard Napoli, Bologna, AC Milan now, Man U. He must be desperate to get out of LA. I mean, that's what I'm getting. If his agent's throwing out a flyer, it's like those guys down in Vegas. You walk down the strip, they're handing you flyers to come eat at their buffet. I just don't get it. You would think that people would be knocking on Zlatan's door, but it seems like he's almost desperate to get out of LA.
I think it's more of a publicity stunt. He just, his thing about Spain where we said he was coming back, but in reality it's just partnering with a gambling site. He just wants to give himself attention and put himself in the spotlight, and he wants people to talk about him. That's what Zlatan does.
Okay. Yeah, just keep himself in the spotlight. I get it. Yeah. He's good at that. He's pretty good. That's why I don't want him to leave MLS. I mean, if he left, who's going to take over that spot? Where he's almost like a villain for a lot of people. I love him, but if he leaves, who's going to take that spot over? Carlos Vela? Carlos Nice Guy Vela? No.
It's almost like Vela and Zlatan. It's like our own mini version of Messi versus Ronaldo.
Ooh, yeah. I like that. I guess Zlatan is like Ronaldo and Vela's like Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Every league needs that. I mean, look at Messi right now. He's got no Ronaldo. It's like he has no will to live anymore, no will to play. He kind of goes out there and he just plays, but he's not the same because he doesn't have Ronaldo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what sports needs. They need guys like this, and if the MLS wants to stay relevant, they've got to do anything they can to keep Zlatan around.
Mm-hmm. Well, over in Germany this weekend, another big game, Der Klassiker, Bayern Munich versus Dortmund. What are your predictions for this?
Well, I don't know. Bayern is, they just lost their coach, Niko Kovac, and maybe they play better because he's not around. I don't know. Dortmund, I think they always play hard. They're always good, I think, given the fact that they let the league title slip last year out of their hands, they're going to come ready for bear in this one. They're going to take Bayern down 2-0.
Mm-hmm. Same result as earlier in the Super Cup. they did have a lot of reinforcements, including Mats Hummels, who transferred from Bayern, which is the reverse of the usual trend of Bayern stealing the league's best players, which I love to see. And I think Dortmund 3-1.
Okay, I think we kind of see eye to eye on that one. It's good. All right. Well, let's see. We're moving on. This show's from Cleveland High School in Portland, Oregon, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about our own high school soccer teams. They've had really great seasons this year. Let's talk about the girls. They unfortunately they just lost yesterday in the second round of the playoffs. But prior to that, they had a really great first round win on Saturday. There were a couple of really great performances, which were you know a little bit about that.
Just a few minutes into the game, Riley Pierce dribbled past 3 defenders and then slotted in and past the goalkeeper, which is a great technical goal. It's almost Messi-like.
Absolutely, yeah. If Messi's not breaking at least 2 ankles on a goal, then it's not a Messi goal, yeah, for sure. Unfortunate that they lost. I think they took one on the chin last night against Mountainside, but really a great season for the girls. They played pretty hard. I think they just got outmatched. It was a really good team in Mountainside.
Mm-hmm. I spoke to some of the players before the game, and they said they were just going to park the bus, and I'm guessing that's what it did. But if you do that, eventually it catches up to you, and you're going to get broken down.
Right.
And that's football.
Yeah. The boys, they also played first round matchup. They played Newburgh last Saturday. They won 3-1, and sounds like they had control of that game pretty well. They had played Newburgh earlier in the year, I think, and had similar success. So it's a great start for them to lead off the playoffs with a big home win, 3-1.
Mm-hmm. It's good for them to get back on track after a frustrating end of the season. Obviously, they go undefeated all year, need a victory over Franklin in the Southeast Cup, the last game of the season, to clinch the league title. They don't get it, finish third, and then drop all the way down to 10th in the rankings. It's really demoralizing, but for them to get back up and come back with this win gives them a good chance in the second round, as the 10th seed facing against the 7th seed, Sunset, I believe.
Right. So it's Sunset's number 7, we're number 10, and you're right. It's never easy in sports, to bounce back, and they certainly did that. And we wish them all the best against Sunset. That game's taking place tonight at 7 o'clock, and by the time this hits the airwaves, that game will be over. So we'll have all the results of that and any other games that they play in the meantime in our next broadcast.
Moving on to Serie A. Today they recently passed a rule where the amount of substitutes, they scrapped it from 3 to 5. They were already the first top 5 league to go from 7 subs available to 12, like they do in international play, and now they're opening it up even more with 5 available subs per game. What do you think of this?
I think it's going to make the game better. I think we've got better. We have a lot of good players, and I think some players need to be subbed off, and you need to have more options. So I didn't hear about this rule, but I like it. I think the game is very slow to change, and I think this rule is going to make the game a lot better. You're going to have more fresher players playing, and it may be a detriment to some teams that don't have as much depth, but I think for the fans, you're going to see a more high-speed game.
Mm-hmm. I think particularly it'll benefit Juventus, who have such a deep squad, and they've had a lot of 2-1 wins, 1-0 wins, and I think this will help them really get their feet off the ground. This weekend in the title race, Juventus still 1 point clear of Inter, I believe, and they play AC Milan at home on Sunday, as Inter play Hellas Verona. Inter, they're only 1 point back, but I think they're really not as close to Juventus as the league table would suggest. Because they've had 4 big games this year, Dortmund twice, Barcelona, and Juventus. And they've got a draw and 3 losses from them. And they've really just played a bunch of nobodies. And
Yeah. So, who's your favorite team in Serie A?
I don't really have one. I just like to watch it. It's always fun to watch Juventus, watch Ronaldo play, but I love to see Ronaldo lose as well.
Yeah, I know. Wipe that smirk off your face, Ronaldo. Come on. Always has that look. Yeah. Okay.
Now, Jose Mourinho has been out of a job ever since he got sacked at Manchester United last year. There was a lot of speculation of him going to Real Madrid, but they had Zinedine Zidane come back. And he says he wants to return to the Premier League, but is there really any suitable options for him?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think he's too good for the MLS, like he needs to be at a top club in Europe somewhere. And I don't know which one that is. He's almost better at a place where I don't know, like it's already an established team, that he can just come in and just take over. Some coaches are good at like building up from the bottom, but I think he actually is better with a team that is already established, and then he knows how to get them over the top and win championships. So what team, most teams that are looking for a coach, they're already pretty bad. And so I don't know. I really don't know.
I think the Bayern job would be great for him, but they said they want a German-speaking manager, which rules him out.
Yeah.
But he's been pegged for this boring defensive football, but at Bayern, he has the best team in the league, so he wouldn't have to do that. And that would be really interesting to see what he does there, but I don't know if it's really going to happen.
Yeah, maybe he's enjoying his time off, I think eventually, he'll want to come back in the game. He's still a young guy, still, a young coach, relatively speaking, and he'll want to come back at some point. And, he's never coached in the Bundesliga, so maybe that's a frontier he wants to cross, So, I would say Bayern. I mean, the door's open. You wonder why Bayern sacked their coach, because it wasn't like they were doing that badly, but
they're not meeting standards.
Yeah, so they may think about Mourinho here. That might be a good move.
4th place in the Bundesliga, only 4 points behind Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, that's plenty of. They're still in ready to make a move. Okay. We're winding down. We're in the mixed bag zone here. Who's your player of the week this past week?
I would have to say Rodrigo for Real Madrid. Just scored a hat trick in them at only 18 years of age in the Champions League, and very, very exciting young prospect.
All right. I'd have to say I honestly don't know who my player of the week is right now. I haven't really looked at individuals. Game of the week probably would have to be the 4-4 Chelsea-Ajax game. Chelsea was down, 4-1 on their home pitch, and they came roaring back. It had everything from, 2 red cards in one play to, some really amazing goals. Our boy Pulisic is doing great. Looks like he's really coming into his own. I'm so excited for him and excited to see what happens. So that's got to be the game of the week for me.
Honorable mention to Borussia Dortmund versus Inter Milan. Inter were ahead 2-0. Looked like they had it all wrapped up, and then Dortmund scored 1 and just came roaring back to grab the win.
All right. I think, looking forward to this weekend. We kind of touched on that already. For me, I'm looking forward to the MLS Cup. It's kind of like the send-off for the league. I wish Portland was in it, But since they're not, I'm still kind of glad that it's another team from the Northwest. I hate to say that, but it's kind of true. Cascadia represents in MLS.
It's 5 straight years that either Timbers or Sounders have won the West.
All right, man. Okay. What are you looking forward to?
MLS Cup. That's only because the Sounders are playing in it. If they weren't, it would definitely be the Liverpool game.
Nice. Okay, and then last but not least, stat of the week.
We already touched on it, but 56 goals in 16 games, which is about 3.5 goals per game. In the Champions League, highest scoring match day ever. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'm going to leave it at that. Stat of the week, all those goals. Who doesn't like goals, goals, goals? All right, so I think that wraps up. This is our first ever edition of the Fridays in Football. Hopefully many more to come. So for now, I'm Ace.
And I'm Jaden.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Okay, I have to go. I'll be back. I have to get my picture, though.
Woo. What?
No.
It wasn't recording?
No, I think.
Really? I did horrible. That's okay. At the beginning, I was trying to control myself way too much, and I wasn't just being natural.
But the
audio's fine. Though.
audio's fine?
Yeah, audio's fine.
Okay, so we can run audio.
What you could do is you guys just sit there, you take a photo of you guys.